Hello everybody, my name is Staraptor and welcome to my spoiler-free review for Star Wars Thrawn Ascendancy Chaos Rising, the first of a trilogy from Timothy Zahn, legendary Star Wars writer. I loved the book design a long time ago, Beyond a Galaxy Far, Far Away, because we'll get into it. We go into the unknown regions. And what's really neat about this first edition is blue pages in a Star Wars book. How cool is that? Even when you open it up, the borders of the book are also, the borders of the page are also blue. So very neat there. It's first edition. So, the first couple thousand copies that you'll find will look like that. So go out there and get those first editions. So yes, this book is about Thrawn's origin in a Chiss Ascendancy. We got his origins in the Empire from those 3 books that were released prior to this. But this is something we haven't seen before because we are going into the unknown regions. We are seeing brand new places, brand new characters, brand new cultures for the first time ever. And the whole gist of this book is that Thrawn is catching on to an unknown threat out there in the unknown regions. So it's up to him and his allies to kind of stop that before it happens. But at the same time, he has to deal with the political maneuverings of the Chiss Ascendancy, which is definitely not that easy. What I think really helps with this book is the inclusion of a dramatis personae, and that hasn't ever been done in Star Wars before, but it's greatly appreciated when you have a story like this where we're completely separated from what we know as Star Wars with the original trilogy and with the planets and the characters. This is all new stuff. We get different hierarchies of the government called the Syndicate. We get different characters and the pronunciations of their names and their family ties and their rankings through the families. It is something that was so eye-opening and so refreshing for Star Wars, where we've been doing the original trilogy stuff to death now. But then we go and we get this awesome offering by Timothy Zahn that goes ahead and it explores so many awesome elements. We have this political movement against the war, the military branch of the Chiss. They're button heads. You got the military that doesn't want to have anything to do with the Syndicate, who is the government, and the government is putting their officials on board ships. Different things like that. Then we have, the upbringing of these merit adoptives, people that are not blood of families getting brought into families, such as Thrawn himself. You have this whole kind of navigation in the unknown regions where it's all about these force sensitive beings called navigators or called skywalkers. It's up to them to get through the chaos, which is what the people of the unknown regions call the unknown regions. The chaos, it's this ever turbulent area of space where you're going to need somebody to be able to navigate using for the force to go past these cataclysmic ever-changing hyperspace lanes. You're going to have somebody to be able to do that. So them explaining how the Skywalkers, for the Chiss themselves, have to be females between the age of 8 to 14 adds a whole nother element to a story that is already so rich in detail, because then you're getting the perspective of these girls that are on these warships and battles happening, and they're just little girls. It's insane kind of stuff to think about. And we are built upon this book with great characters. Thrawn himself. If you know Thrawn, he is Thrawn here in his book, obviously. But we get to see him at an earlier part of his life. He is really not good with politics. He is somebody that cares about his troops, but he also thinks of people as more of assets at this point of life. So having read the later books in this series, luckily they're all written by Timothy Zahn, you can see where he kind of plots this character's point of his life at this point, and we can see where he's going to go in the future, which I think is really cool. We also get a character named Arlani, which you might have seen or you have experienced in other books. We get a little bit of her origin story in this as well. We get the Skywalker. Her name is Cherry, I believe that's how you would pronounce it. And again, that's the lens of a character that you actually see from basically what is happening as a child through all of this. And you also have Thalani, who is more of a civilian that was brought in on the adventure, and you get to see through her eyes and how she evolves over time to become much more important. So there's lots of good character development for sure in this story, and it's all cool because it's basically none of these chapters are from Thrawn's point of view. It's all from these other characters on the periphery of Thrawn with different experiences, seeing how he reacts, and even other characters that aren't even the same species as a Chiss actually making comments on the Chiss Ascendancy and why they are like the snotty-nosed rich people of the Star Wars galaxy, where they think of themselves as the absolute best. And what's interesting about the Chiss is they have this whole notion of they never want to have a preemptive strike upon the other species of the of this part of the galaxy, unless they are shot upon, then they will attack, but they think of themselves as better than any other beings in this galaxy, and that's probably what is leading to some people starting to question whether or not they should be the dominant force of that area of the galaxy. With that being said, there's some negatives I will say about this. If you are not a fan of naval combat, then you might not like this book a whole lot, because that's pretty much the gist of all of the combat, and the action is through naval means. And hey, I personally love that. I think that Thrawn does a great job with explaining action sequences and not making it go over your head, and really giving a clear understanding of what exactly is happening. I think what the book suffers from is not having enough hooks at the end of the chapters. There wasn't enough to kind of pull me through to the next chapter, like I need to read what's next. There wasn't any kind of feelings like that. Although there was really one cool moment when it does connect to Thrawn alliances, and I won't spoil what happens with that. And also, I feel like sometimes the conflict is resolved outside of the chapters themselves, so kind of fast forwards and you see, like, for instance, the aftermath of a battle. I would have liked to kind of been in the battle a little bit longer and seen exactly how the Chiss maneuvered through the odds that were stacked against them. So with that being said, I got to give Thrawn Ascendancy Chaos Rising a score of an 8 out of 10. I think this is a great start for a trilogy. There's so much that Timothy Zahn had to do in this book to introduce us to brand new alien species, to new planets, to just new governments, to new ideas in Star Wars that I think take risk and actually paid off, because I feel like even though this was Star Wars in another area of the galaxy, it still felt like Star Wars, but there was so much new. I think that this book did more did as much world building than maybe Knights of the Republic. I think this book does so much when it comes to just creating new things in Star Wars, and definitely make it interesting. So with that being said, if you guys want to see more about Thrawn on my channel, I have plenty of other videos, including reviews of all the prior books in canon. So if you like that, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That's going to do it for me, Starbuck. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram @StarRaptor.